Hello viewers, welcome to the MNJ podcast, and this week we are going to be talking about value-added tax in Zimbabwe. And with me today I have Fadzai. Fadzai, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Peter. It's good to be here once again.
Okay, so maybe our viewers want to know what is VAT. They only see the VAT on their receipts. They don't know what is VAT.
Okay, so VAT basically, it's an acronym that stands for value-added tax, and it's tax that is levied on different supplies at each level of production. So it can be right from the raw materials up until we've got our finished product.
Okay, so how does one register for VAT in Zimbabwe?
Okay, so by law, one is mandated to register for VAT once your sales get to 25,000 in a year or per annum. So this 25,000 will be USD, or if you're selling your products in ZiG, it has to be an equivalent of 25,000 USD, but in ZiG terms. So once you get to the threshold, you are mandated to register for VAT. However, we also have special cases where probably you just got into business and you're most likely to get a contract that will get you beyond the 25,000. You are allowed to apply for what we call voluntary registration. So for voluntary registration, you can apply before you get to the threshold. However, you need to show proof of how you're going to get money or how you're going to get sales that will get you beyond the threshold.
Okay, so what is the process like for a small company which you wish to register for VAT in Zimbabwe?
Okay, so for starters, you need to check if your sales have reached the threshold or if you're almost close to the threshold. The requirements include a sales schedule for the past year, sales forecast for the next year or the next 12 months. You also need a lease agreement from your landlord or title deeds if you're owning the place. We also need a letter appointing public officer, and then all of these applications are submitted on terms. You will also need to include your bank statement as well, preferably for the past 3 months, as well as your sales invoices or your receipt samples. So you submit all these in your terms, your self-service portal for Zimbra, and then a Zimbra official assesses all these documents. If they pass through, you will be registered. If they don't, they also revert the case in the system with a comment, and then you submit whatever is needed. And then once you do these submissions, Zimbra also comes through for a site visit. The major concern when they're doing the site visits is just to see how you're operating, what type of production you're doing, how the business is actually set up. It's not really witch hunting like most people actually think.
So then how do Zimbra then get to determine the amount of VAT a company which is supposed to pay?
Okay, so VAT actually has a standard rate. For standard rated taxable supplies, it's 15%. But we also have different type of products, your zero rated as well as your exempt supplies. However, the standard VAT rate is 15%. And how Zimbra actually collects this tax now is through a process called fiscalization. So once you register for VAT, you then conclude the process by registering for fiscalization. Fiscalization is basically having yourselves or your system integrating or communicating with Zimbra. That is, for whatever sale you make in real time, it also communicates with the Zimbra servers such that they know how much you've made in a day, how much you've made in a week, or probably in a month. It's just a way to minimize tax evasion.
Okay. So any benefits for the company to register for VAT? Because you might find some companies, they may say we don't see much benefit of registering for VAT. Mm-hmm. Any benefits for registering for VAT?
Yes, VAT actually comes with a lot of benefits. For one, it simply shows that you are compliant and you are honest enough to declare to the authorities that you have reached the threshold or you have actually passed the threshold. And then for most companies, they prefer dealing with someone who's VAT registered rather than someone who's not. Let's take, for example, you want to participate in tenders. So what actually happens when you're participating in tenders, they want to see how big you are, if you're capable of actually doing the contract that they would have given you. So VAT is actually a sign that a business has grown and they're generating money that is beyond the 25,000. So it actually gives you a leeway or maybe an advantage to be awarded bigger contracts and also get to deal with different corporates as well.
Okay, so if you had any clients who have gone for the voluntary registration or they wait to reach the threshold?
There are actually many. We actually have a lot of people who actually do the voluntary registration. Most probably for people who are into tenderpreneurship and also minors. For some minors, they can know that the moment they start selling, they are obviously going to go beyond the threshold. So we actually have a lot of clients like those.
Okay, so for those entrepreneurs who are hesitant to register for VAT, any advice you want to leave them?
Okay, so you shouldn't really be scared to register for VAT. Why? Because by law you're expected to do so. And what happens with VAT, it's not going to inflate your prices. But what is basically happening is that you're just collecting money on behalf of Zimra and then you remit it. And then one thing that you also need to know is there is what we call input tax from your purchases. So this will offset whatever amount you're supposed to pay with Zimra and also reducing your tax liability. So you shouldn't be really scared to register for VAT. You have to do it so that you don't play cat and mouse with Zimra.
Okay, thank you so much, Falzai, for coming to the podcast.
You're welcome, Peter. Hoping to be back once again.
Okay, so thank you so much, viewers, for tuning in. I hope you subscribe, like, and share. We'll see you again next time.